Yesterday, we have announced the 2021 Heisman winner, and this goes to Alabama's star wide receiver, Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith becomes the first wide receiver to win the Heisman since 1991 when Michigan's Desmond Howard won it. Um, he beat Alabama's quarterback Mac Jones, Clemson's quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and Florida's quarterback Kyle Trask to win this award. Just a couple of stats that he has accomplished this year. He led the FBS in receptions with 105, reception yards with 1,641, and reception TDs with 20. And he only dropped 2 passes that whole year. And this was reported by Alex Scarborough, ESPN staff writer. So before I give my opinions on Devonta Smith, I'll pass on to you, Nate. Your thoughts?
I mean, congratulations to him, man. It's very well deserved. 105 receptions, over 1,600 receiving yards, and 20 TDs. He only dropped 2 passes. Oh, man. Alabama knows how to make some fine-ass football players. Excuse me for my language, but it's just true. But yeah, man. I'm very excited to see this kid get into the NFL too, because he's another one. All these college players have excellent things to put into the NFL, and this dude's no exception. I mean, imagine what he's going to do in the NFL with those 1,600 yards. He could probably do more than that. I'm probably over exaggerating on that one, but I mean, yeah, he doesn't get any better than that. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, man. Congratulations to him. He's just a very excellent wide receiver.
Absolutely. And when I was seeing him on the field, I'm saying to myself, this dude's such a physical wide receiver. When I see him on there, he reminds me of like 2 other Alabama wide receivers, Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. And I'm saying that to myself, right? And I'm looking, and I read today, this dude's 6'1", 175 pounds. I said this dude has no physical traits of Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, but he plays almost like he's that big. And
Yeah,
that's what I think is so incredible about Devonta Smith is he's obviously not the fastest guy. He's a physical wide receiver, but he ain't the strongest guy. He's not the tallest. He doesn't have the biggest weight. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a physical freak like a DK Metcalf or like a Chase Claypool, but he plays like it. And that's what I got to respect the most about him is that on a team where Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs left, and Jalen Waddle ended up getting hurt later on that season, late in the season. Devonta Smith, even with Jalen Waddle, was the best wide receiver on that team. And Devonta Smith really did prove it. He really and I said to myself, I said this is the guy that needs to win it right here because Mac Jones is a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, we talked about him in the last video. Which, if you didn't go check it out, please go check it out. And Kyle Trask did historic numbers this year. But let me tell you something. The reason why I feel like Devonta Smith should have won this award is because when you look at a team, right? First of all, let's take Mac Jones. Mac Jones did absolutely great this year. But think about a lot of his touchdowns, a lot of his stats. Think about who that came out of, Devonta Smith. Now go to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has obviously proven himself in college football as one of the best college football players in the last 3 years. But when you look at Trevor Lawrence, you still got a couple marks on his record. You know what I'm saying? A couple, not a lot, a little. Okay, but that don't mean like he shouldn't have won a Heisman. But again, due to the 2 weeks, Trevor Lawrence's Heisman chances kind of drastically slid downhill. And then Kyle Trask could have easily won this award. The reason why he didn't, I feel like, is because whenever this man was in a clutch game where he had to perform clutch, he couldn't.
he didn't do it.
And then when you look at Devonta Smith, he has the numbers, just like Mac Jones. Okay, played every single game without being hurt, so he didn't miss any games like Trevor did. And last but not least, when it came to clutch games like the Notre Dame game, when it came to the Florida game, the Georgia game, who was there and coming in clutch? Devonta Smith. So you look at the key marks on every single one of these players who didn't win the Heisman, right? Those marks, Devonta Smith had accomplished.
Right.
Like, for instance, Mac Jones, I don't think is a Heisman quarterback without Devonta Smith. Heisman-nominated quarterback without Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith, I think, was the biggest piece to this Alabama's offense. When we were talking about Alabama and who to look after, the first guy we talk about is Devonta Smith because that's a guy you need to double team right there. Devonta Smith is this year's Alabama's player. He's the most important player on Alabama's team, like last year when it was Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow don't do what he does without Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And obviously he had a lot of tools, but Jamar Chase was the biggest one. I mean, we're talking about 1,700 yards with 21 TDs. You know what I'm saying? Devonta Smith had 1,641 with 20. So he barely underperformed Jamar Chase's numbers last year. But when you look at Devonta Smith, he is probably one of the biggest pieces, maybe the biggest reason besides Nick Saban on why Alabama is so good this year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with you 100%. Very well deserving for Devonta Smith. I'm very excited. Is he going to the NFL draft this year, or is that next year?
He will be going to the NFL draft this
This
year.
year,
He might. There, some people project him to go third pick. It's either him or Jamar Chase, but I definitely expect him to be a top five, at least top 10 wide receiver.
absolutely. We're very excited to see this kid enter in the NFL. Very excited to see what this kid's capable of doing in the NFL. So congratulations to Devonta Smith on winning the Heisman Award, and I'm very excited for you, man.